Welcome.
to Therapy RX.
RX.
We're not therapists.
And this isn't therapy. We've
With
met.
Tiffany.
And Robbie.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. First, we just need to touch base. We didn't record last week. It was too busy, so sorry about that. But welcome back for sex therapy.
Our favorite subject.
You
Our
guys,
favorite.
yes. This is going to be a good one.
Yes.
This is going to be a good one.
So, where do we start?
I mean, where? I don't even know.
Honestly,
I
I think, well, there's so many things we can talk about. So I think we should start with dick. Because
I agree.
That's the greatest common denominator here. When we think of sex,
It is our common denominator.
we think of dick.
We do. Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely agree with that.
So,
I actually, for the sake of our episode here, did a little research.
ooh, do tell.
And I got some fun facts that we can discuss. Well, first, the largest penis ever recorded. You guys, at one point, I never thought I would say that you can have too much. 18.9 inches.
That is way too much. That will kill somebody.
Roberto Esquivel Cabrera. Yeah.
How?
Poor guy. He was Brazilian.
Go figure.
So that was an interesting fact.
He was probably
And then
ugly
the-
too. I have a feeling. Once it's
you
too
know,
big.
he probably was.
Like,
I mean, poor guy probably just never got any attention at all. So
I mean, and if he did, like, nobody fucked him.
no,
Nobody
I
was
mean,
like,
I
oh,
don't-
it's okay, I'll die.
right.
You know?
Like, yeah. Okay, so, and then the biggest mammal is a blue whale shark.
A blue whale
It's
shark.
weird but interesting. Yes.
That is.
And it apparently has, that was another fact when I looked that up that this came with it. But it has an 8-foot penis.
Holy shit.
And they ejaculate over 5.25 gallons every time.
I mean, that's kind of a small
Mind
amount of cum, I
blown.
guess.
That's a lot.
5.5 gallons? Not if you think about, like, relative to size. Like, if you're like,
Well,
okay, human
I know, relative to size, it
ejaculates,
makes sense.
like, an ounce
I'm
of
just
fluid.
saying. It's an insane fact.
Okay, I'll give you that,
That's
yeah.
a lot. Yes. And then I know we kind of touched base on micropenises last episode.
We did.
But I did look up the actual definition for length measuring purposes.
What
since
is
this
it,
a-
actually?
Okay, so the micropenis is obviously an abnormally small penis that affects fewer than 200,000 men per year. That is a lot.
Yes.
That is a lot.
Wait,
actually.
200,000 men per year? They had it split
Per
up per
year.
year? So at any
Yeah.
given time, there's around 200,000 men with micropenises.
Yes.
That's a very interesting way
And
to separate the
A
data out.
micropenis is classified as less than 3 inches when erect.
Okay,
Under
yes.
those new
Well, I was
guidelines,
right.
I can say I have actually
Yes.
never seen a micropenis.
I have. I was
Remember,
right.
I said I did, but with that, no, I didn't.
I was right. I was right.
I never did, but you did. You
did.
got to experience that.
Yeah.
So the smallest penis, okay, belongs to a man. I don't know if I should say his name, but I mean, it's printed here.
Is it on the internet?
From Miami. Yeah.
Then go for it.
He's from Miami, Florida. His name is Mike Carson. He is 30. And his penis is so small that one can only observe this dude's penile skin with the shaft itself buried within, not even visible.
Aww.
His entire package measures 1/16 of 1 inch.
Oh, it's probably like inverted.
It's like an internal.
I've
Yes.
seen those.
Yes. So, anyways, that was sad for him.
That is. Poor guy.
Yeah. And then, of course, there was like a story about how he got bullied and all of that,
Aw.
which is horrible for guys.
Terrible.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's terrible. Like that's
Yeah, so those are my fun little dick facts for today.
they were great. Wait, so since we've talked big and little, now
Yes.
let's talk about in between because those
Let's
are my
talk about
favorite.
the normal.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is
the
your
normal,
favorite?
The average. I mean, I like them a little bigger.
You do?
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
I like them like perfectly
not like-
average.
Not like ginormous. Just
Actually-
like a nice, just nice.
Yeah.
We've
You need
talked
something
about
to work
this.
with. Yeah, we
I
have,
don't want to
actually,
give
that's true.
measurements and make people feel bad, but it's.
I guess like between 6 and 8
I'm just saying,
inches.
just a little above average is all.
I
I'm
think
gonna
it's
say.
different though too, because girls have a vagina which are meant for penises.
Yes,
They're,
very,
like,
very much different.
anatomically
I-
purposed, whereas guys
for that. Yeah,
we don't. It's not for that. I mean, it feels
Yeah.
good, but it's not for that. That wasn't the original intended purpose. So, like, too
Right.
big is not fun.
I can't imagine that would be.
No, it's not. My light thing is. It's got a mind of its own. No, yeah. So, like, too big is. It hurts. It's painful. But too small does too, because it's like pokey.
I mean,
Although anybody with a micro penis is fine. Like, it's like thin
oh
ones.
God, can you a 16th of an inch?
That's like just
Wow.
inverted. They should have done it hard.
I know.
I feel like that would have given him like a chance.
No. Horrible for the man. I didn't say whether it was or it wasn't, so we'll just give him the benefit of the doubt that it wasn't.
I'm assuming it wasn't, because usually those pop out, you know? I don't even know. Like, I mean, he needs to pee.
Oh,
Like-
that was another thing. That was another fact I actually came
Did you
across
look up
that I
water
thought
sports? No.
that I would share in case anyone listening has a little penis and they just want to not have that anymore. There is actually a treatment involving hormone therapy. So if you're
Oh.
listening and you suffer from little peen syndrome, you can look into hormone therapy.
There
So
you
that's
go.
the thing.
Problem solved.
So
You've
you're
solved the world.
learning.
I mean,
I have. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like at least that's 25% of the world's issue is solved. Boom, right there.
there we go. You did it.
Yeah, I did it. I did it.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. That,
So sex. Let's talk about sex. Let's
So,
talk about.
I kind of think we should hit on fetishes a little. Since
Ooh, that's good.
You know,
that's a
I-
very good topic to talk about. I feel like for a
It's not-
sex episode.
So, I mean, I know like my fetishes. My fetishes are like group sex and public sex. Those are like public, yeah. And then like groups, because I love just everybody. Like I want somebody here, somebody
You just
here,
want-
two or
yeah.
three here. Like Love it. Love the more attention, the better. The more the merrier when it comes to sex.
I am the opposite with group sex. I don't share well. I just
You know what?
I
It's
don't know.
easier, I guess,
It's
when
just
you're
a
all the same sex too, because it's like a free for all, you know?
right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes
I can
sense.
see that though. Can see
Yeah, well,
that.
I mean, you know me. You know my tendencies. So I
Well,
feel like that probably
what are
makes
yours though? What are yours? We've never really fully gone into it.
um,
Any fun
you know,
kink?
I really I'm trying to think of things I can say without giving certain things away. Um, I mean, public sex is great. I've been kicked out of places before for
Yes, you have.
that.
That is correct.
Um, that
I have
happened.
too. Yeah, I have too as well.
Yeah, it was
Poor
an intense.
judgment. Exactly. It was hormonal and alcohol fueled.
Very alcohol fueled in my case. Yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, public that definitely is one of my things. I don't really want to get into too much. Big into like I don't know who's listening, but big into like oral. It's
Well,
like a
yeah,
fixation.
but is that a
But like
fetish? Because I love oral too,
it
like giving and
but
receiving. I'm
like
like, yeah.
yes. But like
Especially with dick.
I
Like, I mean, it's
like
just like,
give more than receive.
yeah.
So yeah, so that and
Does that qualify as a fetish?
trying to
I
think
wonder.
I don't know. I've
Listeners,
been told that it does.
is it?
I mean, it's a whole category in porn.
That's
It's its own
true.
category.
Usually I stay away from
So
that. I'm like, that's not going to get me there. I can't even watch it if somebody's wearing a condom anymore. I'm like, oh, no.
oh,
I
I
see
don't
that they're
know.
wearing a condom. That must not be
I
fun for that.
absolutely
Gotta
I
find a
mean, I
different
know
one.
they're important and everything and you know, you use them with people that are new and stuff, but
You know what?
not a
No.
fan.
They, oh, girl,
I think that's part of what keeps me like consistently like with the same, you know, entertaining the same people.
your
Is I
video
don't like
is
them.
it's
Mine?
down. Yeah.
Oh, that's happened with yours before.
Oh, it has?
Yeah. I just have never said anything. I just kept going.
Oh, sorry. We can keep
No, that's
going.
okay.
No, it's fine. So anyways, so oral is a fetish, turns out.
I
I'm
mean,
learning
I don't know.
something.
It's just it's a category. So I would say,
It is. Oh, and then condoms. Yeah. You know, though,
yeah,
condoms, they don't feel good, okay?
no, they
Like
don't. I will
giving
say though,
or
like
receiving.
the non-latex, I prefer.
I
I
haven't
do.
had promiscuous sex in a while. Although I do know that,
I
thank goodness
know,
for PrEP. I
right?
hate to sound like one of those gays, but the entire time I lived in LA, I never wore a condom. Never got a disease, nothing. Never wore a condom though. Ever.
Very, very, very fortunate.
Yeah, very. Because I know a lot of
If
people
you were
who
a
got
busy
serious
boy.
chlamydia a lot of times. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Because I slept with like 800 people and didn't get anything.
Oh,
Oh, there you are. You
yeah.
came back.
I
Welcome
I
back.
came back. Welcome
Welcome
back.
back.
I'm here.
So, anyways, but
Um,
fetishes though. So we're pretty
Goodness.
vanilla, turns out.
Turns
Yeah?
out, I mean, in my old age, things have changed. You
Well,
know,
no, like when I lived in LA, everybody was like into water sports. Like the more successful the person was, the more they wanted to be peed on. Okay? It was
I
weird. And I don't get off
One.
on that.
Okay,
Did you pee on
so
somebody?
I have a story.
I want to hear it.
Story time.
Tell us.
Okay, so as you know, like I've been in the dating scene since I left my ex-husband. Okay, so it's been 5 years roughly. Met and encountered a lot of people in that amount of time. Okay, definitely done my work. Talking to people and everything. Anyways, I was talking to this guy. We were exchanging messages, and he is like, "Oh, I remember you." And I was like, "What? You remember me?" I did not know who this person was. And he's like, "Yeah, I was your boss. I'm not going to say where." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you were my boss." Anyways, and I thought he was cute.
Yeah.
So at the time, like even when he was my boss. So anyways, we were, talking or whatever. Our conversations shifted as they tend to do. And this fucking weirdo, he's like, "I have something that I need somebody to do, and I think you're the perfect one to do it." And I was like, "Oh, okay, what's that?"
What
He's
was
like,
it?
"I want you to stand over me wearing stilettos
God.
and piss all over me, and then stomp on my balls with your stiletto
Oh,
and
God.
rape me and tell me what a piece of shit I am."
That's like a thing, too. That's a
And I was
fetish. That's a fetish.
I remember not having that as a hardcore fetish. And I remember like not even knowing what to say. I'm like,
That's just not for
kind
me.
of fucked up. Like
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything. He's like,
We
"Too
can't
much?"
kink shame. No
Yeah,
kink
a
shaming.
little too much, buddy. We just discussed the fact that you were my boss 10 minutes ago.
Exactly. Like
now
with
you're-
the kink thing, like you have to like know your
Yeah.
boundaries, especially when you're first
Yeah.
talking to a person in a long time. A lot of people don't get that.
Right.
I mean, although like
No, I mean, yeah. No, you're right. You're right. You're right.
but yeah, I mean, they really should. I mean, actually, everybody who's wanted me to pee on them hasn't asked me like, well, no, I think there was a few people on Grindr because they're shameless on Grindr. But I only peed on
Well,
one person ever. I did it. I finally did it.
I have never peed on anybody.
It didn't make me feel good. In fact, I felt horrible. I mean, first
I
of all,
once was friends with a girl who shit on
oh
somebody.
no, that's
Like as a fetish. Like it was a thing. And I was like,
that
this is
is
disgusting.
that
Like
is
remember
a
when
thing.
that 2-girl 1-cup video went like viral?
That was huge.
I
And
did not
everybody
watch
watched
it. I do not have.
did.
I had zero desire. I was like, nope, not happening.
I did see
Not
it.
doing it. I did not want to.
I did not keep watching. I did not keep watching. I did see the start of it though.
You saw
You
the
know,
interlude.
Yeah, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
I'm not in gay world.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's
That's a
like,
hard fucking line right there.
I mean, I peed on somebody and I was like, I feel like a whore. And it was after I'd taken a multivitamin, so it was like not clear.
It's like, oh, yeah.
Drink a lot of water and pee on me. I had a fucking alcohol. I had like 6 vodka sodas and some multivitamins because that's what I lived off of in 2014. And peed on somebody in a bathtub. I felt terrible. I'm like, oh my God, like wash it off. I felt so bad. And I'm like, it did not give me any sexual satisfaction.
Wow.
I did not feel like a bigger person than that person. I felt awful. I felt awful because I just urinated on somebody with multivitamin vodka pee. Ugh.
Yeah, that's. But you know what? They wanted
a huge
it.
thing.
So-
Yeah, especially like gay men. They are like there's been a lot of gay men who have asked me to do that, and then I dated a guy who was really into leather, and I was like, this does nothing for me. He's
I
like, wear
once
something.
dated someone that was also really into leather, and I was leather
I
and
don't get
latex.
it.
I was like, I mean,
I just
there was
don't.
a couple times where something was like kind of hot, but it was definitely not like a thing for me. No.
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
understand
know.
that one. I mean, it just doesn't do anything for me. Like, is it an
Can we
attitude?
talk about what I consider one of the most degrading things that I've definitely let people do to me before?
What?
I feel like face shots are so degrading.
I do too. Some people love them though. I had an ex that was like, please do it.
I mean, for a girl, it's a little different. Like there's eyelash, you know, like we
Yeah.
do all. So it's a little different, but I don't know. Every time I do it, I'm like, why?
I've let people do it to me before, but I just
Oh
quit
God! I
feeling
mean, I have a
degraded.
lot.
Yeah.
I need to be
I
careful
haven't.
what I'm saying, but
I haven't a lot. I've let like less than a handful of people do it to me.
oh, I'm talking yes, not okay. I was talking instances. Yeah, no, not like a lot of no. There's.
I mean,
a very
although
small
like, okay,
number of
your
people
sex life is a
that
lot
I'm allowed.
different than mine.
It
Like, I
is
have
much different.
many different partners where you've had not as many. So I mean, like only
No,
a
I really
handful.
haven't.
is-
Yeah, you've had thousands.
It's high. It's high.
It's quite a bit different.
It's high. It's a very large number. I don't even know the number. I was a sex addict, though. I had that like sex
fortunately
addict thing going
was
on.
married for 10 years. Like if I wasn't in a relationship for 10 years, things definitely were different before I was married, and things definitely got different after I was married.
Yeah.
But those 10 years saved me a decent body count, if I had to guess.
And
So-
I was a Twinkie,
And you
cute
were
little
just doing
guy.
the work for both of us.
Every dick I came across in West Hollywood.
Yeah. You did. You're like, I want them all.
And I did. I tried them all. All of them. Every single one. And honestly, it got to a point where I would like try and have fun with people too. I would be like, if I came across a guy who was like, I'm a top, I would be like, I'm going to top you. And if I came across a guy who was like, I'm a bottom, I was like, well, I want to fuck you first. But then you're going to fuck me. I'm going to make you a top. It was fun. It was something to do. It was a hobby.
Yeah.
It was a hobby. It was fun.
Decent hobby. I mean, you're not hurting anybody. Yeah.
I'm giving joy to people. I was spreading
Exactly.
joy.
You're actually spreading. I was just going to say, you're actually spreading joy.
Yeah. And it was like an exercise. It was a great way to stay in shape.
You and your asshole brought so much joy to WeHo.
It did. My dick did too. I used to top a lot more there. Like a lot more. Like everybody was a bottom. Everyone.
Your hair looks really good today. I'm now realizing that.
Yeah, I was sweating and it turned out this way. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks good though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But yeah, so that's that. Like,
that's
a dick. Sex addict. Sex addiction is real. I think we talked about this before too.
We have. I've definitely, I definitely believe in that. Yeah.
It's not about like you're having sex with people at some point. Although, like, I was in that fine line of, yes, I needed the validation, but also, yes, I wanted to have fun. And at the time, yes, I was probably on drugs. So.
Did all three of those, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a big part of, I don't want to say actually a big part of sex is validation, but I think it's very, well,
It kind of is. It's validating in both ways.
Depending. Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you should
I
get validation out of it, and the other person should get validation out of it.
I agree. I mean, it definitely should be a mutual thing. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I just remember, like, do you remember Dr. Ruth?
Oh my gosh. I used to love her. I used to watch her. I love her.
Oh, she was like little, and she would talk about
little old lady, and she'd whip out these big old fucking vibrators and be waving them around. Yeah.
Wait, no, that was the one with the treasure trust. Who is that one?
No, Dr. Ruth.
Dr. Ruth was the little sex psychologist girl.
The little old lady.
Yeah, and then there was another one that had a show.
I don't remember the other
one. A different one. She was homophobic, though. And she was like, be careful playing with ass. Don't do too much. I was very, like, not sure about ass play.
Really?
She was, a little homophobic, too, that one. With the TV show. Although it was the 90s. Everybody was homophobic then.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say that was kind of the standard.
Yeah. But,
quite honestly.
Yeah, she was... I remember her. Dr. Ruth. I think it was Dr. Ruth. She was the little one, and she had that accent. Like that German accent
like
or something.
Hungarian or something. Yeah.
One of those Eastern European countries.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I liked her. She was... Actually, when I was working at Seneca, because, I had the craziest, 6 at night to 6 in the morning. But then when I wasn't on 12s, I would get done at 3. Well, what is on at 3 a.m.? Dr. Ruth.
Yeah.
I used to watch her every day after work. I love it.
Yes.
I drink beer.
Gosh.
And watch Dr. Ruth.
She died, didn't she? Yeah.
I mean, she was 1,000 years old then, honestly.
She was a little troll. She
lived a good, valuable life. She put a lot of education out there for young people. Yeah.
Yes. That was back when sex on any media form had to be educational. That was before they liberated us enough to actually embrace sexuality. Media really kind of controlled that, like the ratings places. Because it wasn't really until Sex in the City came around until women were empowered. Yeah, and then like that kind of that and American Pie, because if you really
Pie was. Do you remember the controversy?
Oh, it was crazy.
It was insane.
That actually happened for a reason. So let me kind of explain this. This is another fun fact. So in the 60s, 70s...
We're just facts today. The 60s?
I'm getting feedback. Oh. Ooh. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can. So in the 60s and 70s, movies and the rating agencies came along, I believe, in the 70s. So in the 60s and early 70s, films were like very sexual, very like, if you look at Valley of the Dolls, there's Porky. Well, Porky's was, I guess, more towards the 80s, but there was a lot of sexual films. And then in the 80s,
those were actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then in the 80s, the HIV epidemic happened. So that was mid to late 80s. If you look at filmography from the late 80s all the way to almost the late 90s, you'll see a lot of if a person cheated on the other, they ended up getting killed in the movie, like The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. So it was very much about monogamy. It was very monogamy driven, and that was because of the
Right.
HIV epidemic. So all the things, all the movies from the early 90s very much have focused on monogamy, and if it's a thriller, the partner that cheats is usually the one that ends up getting murdered and is portrayed as a bad person. And
That's very true. You know, and that has changed dramatically, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, nowadays, it's not uncommon to know people that are in open relationships.
Oh
or
yeah, I've had
practice
quite a few of them.
some form of open relationship. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've definitely embraced them. Myself had a couple.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that was the logic behind that. And then going in to the late 90s, we started to get a little more accepting, and things like Sex and the City, Will and Grace, Queer as Folk, things like that became more mainstream and more popular. Like, yeah. But I mean, like, even then, that's kind of on a different evolutionary timeline of how gays and homosexuals had to be perceived as these charismatic, fun characters, not necessarily human, more like a joke or a comedian.
That is very true,
first.
actually. Yes.
And
I never even
then,
noticed that.
yeah.
But that is
Media.
what it
It is. And I hate to sound like, because I feel like I'm saying media, like I'm a.
Like, even like Ellen, like, she was one
that's
of
like,
the first.
yeah.
She was one of the
Ellen-
first celebrities to come out,
And-
and she's a fan.
Well, and when she came out, she
I
actually,
mean, not
like,
that anyone was shocked when she came out. You know, I don't think anyone was.
well, she
was
came
too
up before
shocked.
she did her People magazine cover. And she did the People magazine
Yeah.
cover before she did her show and came out on the
Yes.
show. But after that show, it was canceled like the next season. She didn't work for years. And then the next big thing that came out was Will and Grace, which kind of like it dehumanized it showed gay people, but they also had queer eye for the straight guy. But I mean,
Sorry
like
for the
the
straight guy, yeah, that
the
was a
shows
good one.
gave visibility to gays, but they kind of dehumanized gays because they made them a joke, or like, oh my gosh, we're gay, we can do this. Like, it was very stereotyping and cliche, which can be funny. It just didn't give a human, you know, if you look at the characters like Jack on Will and Grace, he's a character. Like, if you ask anybody and you're like, well, what was any of Jack's boyfriends in the original series? Nobody would, I don't even know if he had one. Like, it was
Right.
it was all very, joking. But I mean, that started an evolution now to where there's more realistic, characters that are gay, that are human, that are main characters, that are full and complex. So I mean, that's kind of, it's
That's
nice.
true. It has evolved quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Filmography. I should have been a film major. Not like an acting one, but like a history.
I could see that for you, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I take note. I take note of stuff like that. Plus, like, there's a lot of literature and some really good documentaries out there about like television and film and what caused certain movies to be produced and consumed by the United States all through time. So I mean, it's fascinating. Way off subject, but
Right.
oh yeah. Anyways, that was back to the whole. If you look at sex on film,
Right.
is
And
to
how
where
it progressed.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sex in the City now, and then Queer as Folk, and now we're getting just people are finally able to comfortably own their sexuality and their sex.
Yeah, I think that for the most part, I mean, I still feel like some people still probably struggle with that, you know?
Yeah. I feel like
But I
there's a
feel like
lot of
it's way
shaming too,
more
though.
accepted now,
Yeah.
you know? But I don't know if that's because they're afraid that just, yeah, people aren't going to accept them. I don't know.
Yeah. If you
But I
look
know
at it, there's a
there
lot of
are
shaming.
some people that are so, but it's completely different, like, than when, like, we were kids, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Things were much different then. Way worse back then.
Yeah. American Pie. That was taboo, actually, thinking about that in high school
That was
for us.
pretty taboo. Yeah.
And nowadays,
That
I'm
was
like,
unheard of.
high school kids are not fucking. Like, are there high school kids who aren't fucking? Like, they're wearing condoms. Those are the ones wearing condoms. That's where those Trojan sales are.
Right.
But yeah, I'm like, do high school students not have sex? They
I don't
seem-
know. I mean, I had friends in middle school that had babies.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
weird thinking about that now.
it is very weird thinking about it. Like, I have a middle schooler. I'm telling you what, she would see all levels of ghetto. I mean, she would never. She knows she's way too innocent for that. But
Honestly, I would be like, I think if I had a child and if I was in that position, I'd almost be like, how do you feel about abortion? Like,
I definitely probably would also.
because they're too young to
Way
take
too young.
care of a life at that point.
And to even go through that physically, it's not for that age.
Yeah. That is,
It's
yeah.
much. So, yeah, no.
And if you look at American Pie, they were trying to just get laid before they got out of high school. Although I feel like everybody lost their...
All of those movies from when we were in high school, did you ever notice? All of those movies.
Senior year, yeah.
All of them. They were all like that.
You gotta
Everyone
lose your
wanted to go
virginity.
out.
And everybody made a big deal of it. It's like,
remember Can't Hardly Wait?
yeah.
Scott Green. Remember? That was his only mission in the movie, was to have sex. And then he did in that bathroom with that girl. Oh, yeah, no. All of the movies in high school were like that. And I feel like it probably is still like that. Like, every once in a while, I'll walk by like something Lily's watching, and they'll be like kids making out, and I'm like, these are are like in bed together, like obviously something, you know. And I'm like, these are supposed to be high schoolers, and they're projecting this to children.
Oh yeah, it's so different.
And I'm
Like I remember,
so sexualized.
it is. It really is.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it sucks because kids consume that. Like
Right.
high school
They
kids,
do.
middle school kids, and those actors are like 22, 24 years old.
Literally, some of them, I'm like, are they trying? Who are they fooling? That 30
Yeah.
fucking 5-year-old lady is not a high
Yeah,
schooler.
like that man has a full beard. He is not
Right.
on the JV football team. Okay. Like seriously. Yeah, but then kids in high school see it and they're like, "Oh yeah, I need to emulate that behavior." And it's like, "No, that person is nearly 40 and some writer that doesn't even have a kid wrote the script."
Right.
Thinking it would be for an 18-year-old, but hasn't talked to an 18-year-old since they were 18. It's Hollywood. Living there, you see all of this too. Like you see it in real time.
That's such a cool experience. Like, you got to live there, right there. Like, that's awesome.
It was fun because you do get to see a lot of cool stuff. Like growing up in Wisconsin that you idolize, you're like, oh my God, they filmed this here and this is like you get to see a lot of historical stuff, which is cool. But also like the people that work in it, the people that work with celebrities, and it's cool. It's although it changes the way that you perceive it too. It makes it much more real unless magical. Like sex. I've had sex with people that are on TV. I cannot watch those TV shows because I've had sex with some of those people.
Hey, Robbie, what day is it?
Why? Thursday. Why?
Missed it. It's
What?
October 3rd.
Oh my God. Don't. But yeah, so it just makes it not fun to watch those videos anymore. Or shows, TV shows. I've also been with people on TV. HBO, for some reason, has a lot of
I
people
sent
that
you
I've
a
had sex
picture
with.
not too long ago. Do you remember? I sent you a picture. I was watching TV and I was like, oh, here you go, Robbie. Here is a picture. I'm watching TV.
I do think I remember that.
Yeah.
I do, yeah. Well, plus I've also had friends too, that are on TV too, and
Right.
that kind of ruins it too. I mean, it doesn't ruin it. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for even for the people that I've had sex with that are in TV.
It's hard to
and
see
whatever.
them in that light because you know them personally. Yeah.
Well, and it's like, oh my gosh, like it really just like takes away the show. I'm like, oh gosh, I really was into that. Like I had that whole. You have an illusion when you watch something.
Right.
It's an illusion.
It is,
And
and I feel like you personally know someone that would interfere with their character, and yeah, it would ruin that for me.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so sex with famous people. Not so famous. I wouldn't say famous.
But like, if you say some of that, people would know. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, I know who that is."
I wouldn't say them, no.
No, but I'm just saying. People, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't-
There's, yeah, they might. They might.
Uh-huh.
Some people don't.
Anyways, so that was your sex with celebrities. I've never hooked up with anyone famous.
It's okay. They're just like normal people. Actually, like, well, they're LA people. So LA people, I feel like, are just better at sex because they have sex with everyone. Because
That
they all
makes
have
sense.
issues. Literally, all of them. If you live in LA,
Literally.
you most likely have issues and you probably have a lot of sex. I mean, you just have a lot of sex.
I mean, I
You
feel
fuck
like
the pain away. That's what you do. Because you pay through the nose for rent, and you have to, find something to do that makes you happy. With no
because you're
money.
too broke to go do anything else.
Exactly.
You're like, well, I paid $2,500 in fucking rent this month. I'm not going to the clubs, so
Yeah. And I used to pay like $2,000 a month in rent back in 2014.
that's crazy.
Gosh, that was terrible.
Yeah, I still don't even pay $1,000. Although, if I were to move and rent, I would be paying over $1,000 because the housing market's changed dramatically in this
There's-
area.
A bubble everywhere. Like housing
Yeah.
prices have gone up like 15% in the
Major
last year.
inflation. You remember my sister sold her house, and the person that she sold the house to made over $50,000. It just sold again.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
And I was like, well, they easily could make almost 80 if they sold their house now.
there's
market.
definitely a bubble.
So, right.
Like house prices
Yeah.
shouldn't be inflating that fast.
No, they shouldn't. Which sucks for buyers, but they've got the interest rate's so low right now.
Yeah.
So I think to counter that, it's like 2%. You can get a house for 2% interest. That's insane.
That is.
This is a sex
I know.
episode, and we're talking about realty.
Mortgages. This is your 30s.
Yeah.
Welcome to your 30s.
Welcome to your 30s.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I keep looking at houses too.
I
It's
know.
just not fun. Like, it's just like so much money.
It's so stressful even just looking. I'm like, this is
I know. It's like
freaking
either you have to
exhausting.
pay more than what you want to spend or get something shittier and try and deduct what features in a home you actually want.
I know that I did make a pros and cons list. You should do that too. Like certain things I'm not willing to negotiate. Like I'm not willing to negotiate 3 bedrooms. I'm not willing to negotiate 2 bathrooms. You know,
Pool,
there's some
hot tub. I want to be
where you're
around
at.
2,000 square feet.
And yeah, I want at least 1,400 square feet.
I want to be around, because I, like, honestly, when I look for houses now, it's like my price range has gone up. I mean, I work a lot.
Well, it has
but
to keep up with the market.
yeah. And it's weird because the difference between a $750,000 home and a $1.1 million home is like insane.
And yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's how it is. I know, like, when I am searching, my price point is much different than yours. But if I go from, like, under 150 or then to, like, 175, I mean, those two, I'm like, this is insane.
yeah,
So, yeah.
it is. It's just frustrating, and it sucks because then I see how much they purchased it for, and I'm like, you are ripping me
And
off.
if they sold it, like, they had it for, like, a year, and they, yeah,
or the
absolutely.
people that flipped it, and they're like,
every time I see that, it pisses me off. I'm like, you motherfuckers.
I know. They're like, it's worth $200,000 more now. I'm like, why? Because you put $25,000 worth of repairs into
remodeled
it?
the kitchen?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, no. No, I'm not falling for your stupid bullshit. Somebody else can.
Like some light fixtures and a fucking island doesn't fucking make up for $200,000.
Exactly. Yeah. Unless that fucking marble is Carrera marble. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not interested. And on top of that, like, there's a lot of, because, you know, like, there's $1 million homes, too, where they're like, oh, we want $1 million for it. I'm like, it's not on the water, and it doesn't have a pool. How is that $1 million? Like, no.
What?
Yeah. People are stupid.
It's not even on the water?
It's not assessed at $1 million. They didn't buy it for $1 million. They've just had it for like a decade, and they assume it is because some realtor said it was. Not on the water. It's not waterfront. So, I mean, most of the $1 million homes are on water, have a dock in the back, and don't have a pool. And I'm like, you want $1 million for like 2,200 square feet when you can get on the water with a pool for $1 million? With a pool and a hot tub. I'm like, you're stupid. I get very frustrated. Very frustrated.
Yeah. Understandable. It is a very frustrating process.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, I've been looking to...
Yeah.
And it just makes me want to cry. Makes me want to cry. But at the same time, I'm not gaining equity.
Well, no, but at some point you will be.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What are you looking at?
Just a message. That's all.
Sexy
Just
messages.
a message.
That's another thing that took off in the
Texting,
2000s.
that is, yes.
Oh my god.
That was not a thing.
Yeah.
That was not a thing.
Oh, it's like annoying. Like, people want you to write them a fucking novel about what you're going to do to them.
A lot of times I'll just say, I'm grown. Okay, we're adults. We're grown. Like,
Yeah.
we either do this. I'm not gonna waste my time talking about it. I'm not doing that. Like, I mean, I will a little. You know, it's just what you. But no, I'm not doing this all day, every day for days on end. No, not fucking happening.
I mean,
Like,
I have because LA. You know, you got to warm up, and you have to.
I mean, I'm not saying I haven't. I'm not saying I haven't. I'm just at the age, and I've been single for so long at this point where I'm just. It's one of the things where I just feel like I just don't even have the energy to do it. certain things have just become exhausting. When you are single for a duration of time, some things just genuinely become very exhausting.
You know what? That should be an app idea, like an auto sexter.
I mean, the dating process itself is extremely exhausting.
And then people are like, tell me what you are going to do to me. And it's like, I don't have the fucking time. Like, I have a 9 to 5, okay? Like, seriously.
I have to dust and do dishes and take my dog for a walk. And
it's like when people ask for nude pics too, and they like assume that you're gonna just take them now, and they're like, "Oh, somebody that was sent to somebody else," and it's like, yeah, it was either sent to somebody else or taken during like a very intimate photo shoot, like, when I was with myself, and was like, "Oh yeah, I look good and have time to where I can take pictures."
Right,
I look good in the right lighting.
Exactly.
Yes. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
No, I always get a kick out of it when they like say something like, "Oh, is that now?" No, asshole. I'm at fucking work right now. like, I'm literally in the middle of a fucking Zoom or a conference call. Like, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Not that I haven't taken pictures at work.
I have. Yeah, I have too.
Absolutely.
I have pictures for that. I back up.
I mean, it just depends on the person.
It really does. It's like sometimes I need to do artistic dick. Sometimes I need to go a bit raunchy.
Depends on the person, depends on the conversation, depends on the mood. I mean, there's a lot of different variables.
There really is. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, I like the flattering ones. I can't do like an ad hoc, And on top of that, like pubic hair. Like seriously, I like that shit trimmed.
Oh,
and it's like,
gosh.
If it's not trimmed, I don't want to take a picture.
I have had some guys. I've had my fair share. I've had my fair share of fucking dick pics. Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't even go into. I wouldn't even begin to know where to count. Okay. I have seen them all. All of them. All of them. The ones that don't shave, I think, are the ones that bother me most. Like, it doesn't have to be shaved.
No, just trimmed.
But I don't want to have to. I'm not doing this, okay? That.
During pandemic, I went full bush.
No, I did. Well, you're a committed relationship, so
I
that's
know.
different.
I was like, no. I don't care if you get like hair in your teeth. No, but I did. I was like, because I wanted to see, and honestly, I really admire the people in the 70s because those bushes had volume. And that is just like my pubic hair must not grow correctly.
I feel like mine doesn't grow like that.
Yeah,
no, because I have literally had that same thought before. I'm like, how did they have these like fucking honestly so sparse? I'm like,
it's like
I think don't grow hair.
I think if I had a bush like that, I would actually have the bush. I would
you would have a bush.
Be proud of it. I would be. Yeah.
Pick it out.
It's like thin.
Yeah.
I did get electrolysis once, though, so that's probably why it's thin, to be honest.
Actually, I used to get waxed regular.
Yeah. That's probably why I don't have a
pandemic yeah. And actually, and I'm like that all over, though. Like, even like my legs, like, they don't grow hair like normal women. Like, my friends all fucking hate me. Because they're like,
because it's like sparse.
And they grow so slow. Like, I can shave my legs and I don't have to shave again for like 2 days, which most women have to shave every single day.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that. I don't even shave my face every other day.
Well, I mean, it depends, like if I know I'm going to be home for the weekend, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not like, I'm not going to shave my legs.
I mean, I don't know about straight men, but at some point I would be like, it's okay. You don't have to shave your legs. Like,
no, you can't, because I personally could never let my legs grow. Like, that's disgusting to me. I have to be shaved or I don't feel good. Like, I feel...
Oh, because you feel dirty. Because society has placed that upon us.
Yeah.
fucking
like,
society.
It physically feels disgusting too. Like I don't
That's
like
terrible.
it.
That's society. That's
Like I'm like, this
society
is
that does
disgusting.
that.
Like I haven't
Yeah.
shaved. I feel stubbly on my blanket. Like this is gross. Yeah, no.
Yeah. No, I remember in my 20s, I used to like nair everything below my waist.
Oh my god. I don't even
That
want to talk
was
about
a
the shit I went through in
process.
my fucking 20s.
Honestly. The
Here's the thing,
effort
though,
that we
when
put
I
into our bodies back then, we deserved to get laid as much as we did, thinking about that.
We definitely fucking did. And we definitely fucking did.
Yeah.
Hoes.
Honestly.
Yeah. You know what? Whatever.
Even like
You lived
into
in a
my 30s. Actually, really up until this pandemic. That was the first time I've been full bush ever in my adult life, I think.
I don't think I ever have. Even when I was pregnant, I feel like there was just splashes.
Well, there's a
'cause
lot
I
of people down
did
there
what I could.
when you're pregnant.
Huh?
There's a
I
lot of people
know.
down there.
There
That's
was a lot. I had so many people in my room. Everyone's like,
honestly.
"Oh my god, you had so many people in your room." Because I literally had all of my staff, which I was at
Yeah.
Meriter, which is a teaching hospital. So there was like,
Yeah, and they all want to stick their fingers in your vagina. Every single one of them.
but I
know.
didn't care. I didn't even care at that point.
Yeah,
you know, when
you're like, go for
baby.
it, whatever. Stick
And then
your
I had,
hand
like,
in.
all of like
Do
the
whatever.
family was in my room, like all of them, like
Damn.
Amanda, Russell, like all of them, all of
Damn.
them, Rob, all of them. Were in
Yeah,
my
I
room.
mean, I've
It's just like,
seen.
you just didn't care, and I'm like, no, I just didn't give a shit.
No, at some point you're like, it's part of my body.
Right?
This is how
Like,
birth
whatever.
happens. This is life.
Like it's a vagina.
I've seen labor. I've seen labors and C-sections. Yeah,
I
everybody
ended up
that comes through that door is like, okay, can I need to check and see how dilated you are. It's like, go ahead.
Horrible.
Take your time. You want anything to
Right.
eat while you're down there?
Oh
It's-
yeah,
Yeah,
childbirth.
crazy.
I knew I was
The
never going to do it more than once.
Honestly, it's a chore. You know what's really weird though? C-sections. They remind me of Alien because like it's just like a slice and
It's a
then
very
they go in,
weird feeling.
take out a baby. I'm like, that is fucking crazy.
I watched a video of a C-section like 2 years ago, and it literally blew my mind. I was laying there the entire time like, this fucking happened to me? Like, they did this to me?
Yeah, they like they
It's
take
such a
it.
real experience. Like, the very first picture I have of Lily, the hospital took, and they were like pulling her out of my cut open stomach, and they have like my organs like pulled out of me and sitting on my stomach, and you can see like organs are sitting on my stomach. So I don't know, it was just a really weird experience, and I could feel them. Like there was no pain.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't in pain, but I could feel like the pressure and the movement, and it felt like an alien almost. Like it just,
it looks
and
like
I-
an alien from the outside.
yeah. And I
From
had
a
to
third
keep telling
party.
them I felt sick. And then of course, like they have you laying flat on this, table. And I have very large breasts normally, and at 9 months pregnant, they were a thing of their own. So I literally felt like I was going to suffocate. Like my tits were going to fucking suffocate me. And I kept telling them, I'm going to die. I'm going to die here today. I'm going to die. I kept saying that. I feel like I'm going to be sick. And they had to give me medicine like 5 times. It was absolutely horrible.
Oh,
Yeah. So I didn't puke everywhere.
that's rough. Yeah,
It
I've
was
seen
a horrible
them.
experience.
I've seen
Mhm.
quite
And
a
I
few of
watched that
them.
video once, and I was like, "Yuck!" That's why it felt like that.
Yeah, it's really crazy to see.
I'm a freak right now.
My mom was like shocked that I had seen like births, and I'm like, she's like,
In real life,
yeah,
wait, you
'cause-
saw it when you were in the car or what, at the hospital?
yeah, I saw it at the hospital when I
God,
like
that's awesome.
at work.
Yeah.
But because I got certified in application for labor and delivery, and my mom was
Right.
like, "Have you?" I'm like, "Just because I suck dick doesn't mean I don't fucking know anything about
Right.
birth or vaginas. I get it. Just because I don't like to stick my dick in one doesn't mean I'm like anti-vagina. Like, what the fuck?
Anti-vagina. Anti-vagine.
Yeah.
Vagina.
Although, yeah, C-sections are a little weirder than live births. Although crowning looks a little fucked up too.
Oh,
it's like
God.
a peach with a fucking blue head. Just
I remember when I was pregnant, we did this nursing class because that's what you do when you're married and you're having a baby. And in the nursing class, or birthing class, they played a video of a vaginal birth. Why would you do that to women that are having a vaginal birth? Is beyond me. I was so scared. When I went to the doctor and they told me that I had to be induced and I was going to have Lily, I called my mom crying. I was like, Mom, I don't want to have this baby. I'm not ready. And she's like, well, she can't stay in there forever. And I was like, they just showed us this video. It scared the shit out of me. Yeah, crowning is intimidating with seeing that.
It is. And then the shoulders, like the crowning is like nothing. Like that's just like
so
it
glad
looks
I did
weird.
not.
But then they're like,
I went through hell with a C-section, but I'm glad I had one because there's no way. There is no way I
tears
could
your
do that.
shit up. Like,
Yep. Not me. Not me at all.
but then they're like, we got to get the shoulders. The shoulders are next. And I'm like, this woman hates everything. Like hates.
Literally. I remember my sister had one of the girls, I want to say it was Abby. It was Abby with no epidural.
Damn.
None. Because she didn't make it on time. And so she did not have one. And
Ouch.
I tell you what, I would never wish that on my worst enemy.
My mom didn't. My mom had nothing for both of us.
Gosh,
Or all three of us.
That is
Yeah.
brutal.
Absolutely nothing. Like, and I even saw like the birth record because she had it in my baby book, and I'm like, you had like lactated ringers and pitocin. That's it. That's it.
That Pitocin is what fucked me up and made me get a C-section.
Well, I was breech, so
Yeah.
I needed to. She needed the pit, so to induce the muscle spasm, so I would turn.
Oh, that's what it was for.
Yeah.
No, they thought Lily's cord was wrapped around her neck because every time I had a contraction, her heart rate dropped.
Yep, and they were worried that was going to happen to me because I was breech.
Yeah.
They were like,
That's
well,
so crazy.
I was almost C-section. But we are at an hour.
We are. Okay, well, that was a fun episode.
Yes. All right. Next
I'm
week.
so shy. Yeah, we need to not talk about sex for a little bit until we get more comfortable. Why did I feel like I'm so shy? I feel shy.
Hold on, I haven't turned it off. We got to say
I know.
bye. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Next week we're talking
talk about next week.
drugs and rock and roll, baby.
Oh, that's a good topic, actually. I like drugs and rock and roll.
Censored drugs and rock and roll.
Yeah.
Okay, so next week, tune in.
Tune in. We'll be back.
All right.
It was